All right, welcome to the virtual women's circle. It's been a really long time since I've held space for one of these, so I'm just really excited about it. I've done a couple in-person events recently, and I love them. I adore being in person with my humans. And also, I equally love being in this sort of space. And I don't know that I would say I love it more, but if I had to choose, I would say this would be the one I like more because it feels so intimate. I know that none of us are actually in the room with each other, but our energy is so much more available when we're in our own space. And I know, like, those of you who have come to my live events and those of you who have done the online things, you probably can feel what I'm talking about. It's like we're all in different spaces, but our energy comes and meets here in the middle. There is a space like beyond physical time and space, right? Where all of our essences, our souls are sitting together. And I find it's because in person, we're a little more pulled outside of ourselves. You know, we're in the space, we're focusing on the people around us, we're focusing on the schedule, what's happening at home, what are we going to do after, what happened on the way to get there. But when we're in this online space where we're all in our own little cozy nooks, we're so much more embodied. We're so much less worried with the outside stuff. It's actually like we're home. Like we all get to be together and be at home. And isn't that the dream? To be able to be with people at home without having to have people in your house and without having to get out of your house. So yeah, I just want to thank y'all for being here. And for those of you who are watching the replay who weren't able to make it on live, I want to thank you also because all of your energy is contributing to the space. We are all contributing to whatever is going to happen tonight. I don't come into these with a real agenda or with any real strict sort of plan because I know that the energy of whoever shows up for the call or the energy of who is committed to participating in the replay, that's what makes the space. And my brain can't plan for that in advance. And that's a lot about what we're doing here tonight. Our brain wants to try to plan and control in advance. We have the arguments in our mind, right? When we think something is, whatever, like we rehearse it, right? We try to plan our schedules and our days and our relationships. And as y'all know, it doesn't work, right? Things are always going off plan all the time in tiny and gigantic ways. And so, yeah, I find I've just been called to be the embodiment of being embodied. Like all day long, I've had to just be with myself. I wanted to send out emails or post on Instagram and do all these things. And I kept being told no. I kept being pulled back to just being and feeling. And it was so painful and so uncomfortable because my brain really thought I needed to be doing X, Y, and Z for whatever reasons. And so I just want to invite you to look at what your day has been like, what your week has been like, since you heard about this gathering, since you decided to attend it in whatever way you're attending, whether you're here live or you're on the replay, and just notice what's been coming up for you. What have you been feeling? What have you been thinking? What have you been experiencing? What kind of stuff has been happening to you, around you, within you? And I'm just going to pause here for a moment while you just stop and consider the ways that the universe has brought forward for you exactly the thing that's needing healing or needing your attention. And it may be super clear and it may not be. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be a certain thing or a certain way. You don't have to know. And I want to pause for a moment and just honor the energy that I feel moving through the space already as I sat to prepare for this. So in the last half hour, around 7:30 was when I started like making my tea and getting my space set up. I could feel like I thought I was gonna like vomit. There was so much nervousness and anticipation and excitement, and I was feeling like I was gonna vibrate out of my body. It was shaking, right? There were all of these thoughts, and it was just this urgency, this this nervousness, this fear, but also underneath it, this excitement. And I know I'm naming what some of you or all of you have been feeling because it's processing through my body as I name it. So I invite you to notice what's happening with you as I name this. What's moving through your body? What was moving through your body as you made your way onto this call? What's moving through your body now as we talk about it? Maybe you're having remnants of it returning because it had settled. You know, Lauren made a comment before we started the recording, before we all hopped on, saying like it feels like home already. It already feels like coming home. And I could feel that energy as everyone started to hop in the call and we all started to land in the space. There was this feeling of, oh yeah, I remember. You know, I know what I'm here for. I remember that I'm safe. I'm open. I'm available. I'm home without having to have done anything except arrive in a space that has been set up for you, that has been held for you with intention and infused with intention. It's magic, you know? I know none of you had to do anything when you hopped on this call to start feeling a little more settled. I know I didn't. I normally hop on these things and I'm like, I'm so excited and there's so much energy moving and I'm talking so fast. And I don't feel this way today. I do feel this deep shift in me, and it's the shift that I'm inviting people into now because I've experienced for myself what it's like. Those of you who have been with me a while, like I know you probably noticed the difference. Like I'm a lot less frantic than I used to be. And I used to operate from that place of enthusiasm, passion, inspiration. And my body has been receiving this attunement of what passion really is. Because before I thought passion was this, and what fire is. So when I saw fire and when I thought of passion, it was like up, excited, abundant. I'm going to just name some words and just notice how your energy goes up and up with them. You know, passion, pleasure, enjoyment, joy, laughter, good vibes, high vibes, openness, expansiveness. Can you feel that? How does your body feel? How is your body reacting to those things like abundance and love and everything I ever wanted? Getting the things, feeling lit up and alive and on fire. I feel my body go up into my heart and my heart just opens up. And yes, it's good. It feels good. Lacey says it feels yummy. Yes. And it's also, where's your body in it? Your body's not in it. It's not in your body. We exit our bodies in that feeling. In that space, we go up and out and we connect with like the universe, with spirit, with the divine. And it is so good. It's so good. I spent years there. It's also frazzling. It leaves us feeling raw and anxious and ungrounded and unable to be in a powerful space, to be in a really present space, to be in a space where we can receive, where we can create, where we can like feel safe and alive. And I get the pull of that other feeling. And that's what a lot of people are selling right now. And it's what I was selling for a long time too, because it's what I knew. And now I know something different. I know something deeper, something fuller, something safer, where I still get that yumminess that Lacey described of being in that space. But instead of it being up and out of my body and it being a place I have to check out into, it's a place I can have all the time. It's a place I can open into inside of myself. And I just invite you to notice your body's reaction as I talk. You know, the things I'm saying, like I'm not really speaking to your brain tonight. You're not going to necessarily leave here with notes. I want you to feel this conversation. I want you to notice how your body responds to the words and to the energy behind the words. Because now I'm going to say some of those exact same words and just notice your body. Passion, pleasure, expansiveness, joy, lit up aliveness, open-heartedness, safety, goodness. Can you feel a difference in your body? And if you don't, it's okay. Some of you are arriving here tonight or on this replay with a numb body, and that's okay. We spend so much time outside of it, it's forgotten how to feel. It's learned for so long that feeling isn't safe, so it's learned to not do that. So please don't judge yourself if your body is not feeling as I'm speaking. Know that your energy is still receiving the activation of it. It's hearing it. It's like when you're paying attention to something, but you're kind of acting like you're not. Almost like your energy is eavesdropping on what your body may not be able to express yet. Danny says in the comments, it's like an opening of my back body. So good. Yes, it's the back body. It's back and down. The back body and the lower chakras. The first energy I spoke to is the upper chakras and the front of the body. And we need them both. We need them both. Neither one is better than the other. We need them both. And we need them working together. We need them communicating with each other. We need them infusing each other. So you can still have that, ooh, giggly feeling, right? That high vibe feeling. But it has a power underneath it, a presence behind it. So instead of elevated joy that takes you outside of yourself, that you don't remember, or that fades as quickly as it showed up, instead you have deep joy, deep pleasure, that laugh, that like marinates and sizzles. And I'm going to just speak to like orgasm, because joy is a lot like orgasm. And the joy that we're sold is fleeting. It's dramatic, but it's quick. We have to force ourselves into it. There's a lot of work going into it, a lot of mindset stuff, right? We have to get ourselves there, and we work so hard to get there. And then if we even get there, it's over so quick. It's like a flash in the pan, and it was like, oh my God, that was great. And now what? Now I'm tired. Now I'm feeling all these other things that I tried to block out on the way up. On the way down, you get hit with the shame and the fear and the conditioning and the stories. And you're left feeling worse than when you started. Not all the time, but that's an example of that quick high. But instead, the experience I'm inviting you to, like the life orgasm, the full body life orgasm, where instead of this high peak and then a dip, it's an opening, a warming, an expansiveness, an enlivening. It's deeper. It's less dramatic. It looks less exciting on the outside, but you get to feel it and experience it for much longer and in a much deeper way. And that feeling, that experiencing reprograms everything in your body. It reprograms like your energetic DNA. And I know there's a lot of people who like love the science behind all of this and could probably like verify and validify all of these things. That person's not me. I'm sorry. I just know it in my bones. Oh, let me catch up in the comments. Elizabeth says, those words feel so much more erotic when I connect them to my body. Yes. Lacey Fruget said, goosebumps on my legs. Yes, it's the lower body. It's turn on. It's pleasure. That's what's available in our bodies. And not because I did anything sexy, right? You're not feeling that turn on, that awakening, that aliveness in your body because I just stripped for you, or because a man gave you his attention, or because of any other thing. You didn't have to go put on lingerie, right? You just naturally feel that way in your body. It's amazing. Women's bodies are made for pleasure. I mean, did y'all know that the clitoris has like thousands of nerve endings and it has no biological function beyond pleasure? That's it. It's not necessary for reproduction. It's not necessarily biologically necessary for anything. It is there just for pleasure. We have thousands of nerve endings dedicated to your pleasure. So instead of us saying, oh, it has no biological function, are you kidding me? We wouldn't say, oh, there's all these cells dedicated just to breathing, and then try to say it's not biologically necessary to breathe. Oh, we have this whole group of cells that do this one thing, doesn't affect anything else in the body, maybe, which is wrong and untrue, because pleasure affects everything in your body. When your pleasure nerves, your pleasure receptors are activated, it changes everything in your body. So to say it doesn't have a biological purpose is such the patriarchy, right? It doesn't serve a purpose to a man. To say, I can't see how this keeps a person alive. You know, you can live without pleasure. We can create without pleasure. But to say pleasure doesn't have a purpose is wrong. It's missing the point. The point is that pleasure is just as biologically necessary to your well-being as sunlight. Yes, we can get artificial sunlight and survive. We can take a vitamin D supplement and survive. But is that really the same as feeling the sun on your skin? We can have artificial pleasure in outside validation, in buying things, in eating things, in thinking about things, right? In going up and out. But it's different than being in the body and feeling it in the body. It's so different. And so I'm just going to pause there for a moment as you like let that land in your system. Your pleasure, physical and otherwise, in every sense of the word, is biologically necessary to your well-being. It contributes to your life as a person. And that makes it important. We would never say something that contributed to the lives of our children was unimportant, whether science or men deemed it otherwise. And so I just, notice how your body feels. Is it creating opening or is it creating some contraction? I feel it. It's like a tenderness, a vulnerability. On one hand, it's like, and I knew it. I knew I mattered. I knew me feeling good was important. And then on another hand, it's like, am I important? Is what I feel important? I don't know. It's dangerous, I thought. I thought my body was scary. I thought my pleasure wasn't for me. I thought it was for men. I thought it was something to be ashamed of. I didn't think I was getting on this call to talk about orgasm and turn on. I didn't either. I'll let you know I didn't either. I knew it's maybe where I wanted to arrive. I didn't know it was where we would drop right into. Jana says, we were never taught that. No, we were never taught this. We were taught the opposite. We were taught the opposite. The clitoris, dangerous. She's shameful. Masturbation is sinful and dangerous and dirty. It's something to be ashamed of. It's something boys do only. Oh, boys will be boys. You know, you don't see, no one really flinches when there's a reference to masturbation about men. I mean, this is a common hand gesture. Can't tell me how many people I see doing this in the grocery store to be like, oh, fuck you to somebody. You know, no one's afraid really to do that in public. Could you imagine if there's a hand gesture for female masturbation? People would die. They would die. Danielle says, I've probably never even said clitoris out loud. Yeah, I've definitely never said it to a group. I've never said it on a live healing call. Elizabeth says, pleasured women are hard to control. Exactly. A woman who's in her pleasure is in her power, and she cannot be controlled. She cannot be brainwashed. She cannot be made small anymore. And that's why we avoid it, because we've been taught that a woman who can't be made small is difficult, high maintenance, a bitch, a lesbian, an angry feminist. A woman who feels valuable is a slut, or she's conceited. You know, she's full of herself. How dare she? Let me read the other comments. Danielle says, and it's one of my body parts. That's crazy. Exactly. How crazy. Like, how many of you have never said the word clitoris out loud or in conversation? There's so, I mean, just say the word or think the word and just see how your body responds to it. The word pleasure used to give me the creeps. When I first started saying it, I had to get used to it in my body and retrain my body with a new definition of the word pleasure, because the one I had known was like pleasure, you know? It was some like 70-year-old woman who was like braless in the 70s talking about pleasure and the clitoris, right? These were not words that I was raised to embrace. They definitely weren't even underneath that normalized. They were shamed. My body was shamed. Your body was shamed. One of the most vulgar, disgusting words of the human language is pussy. Notice how you respond to me saying that. It took me a long fucking time to be able to hear the word pussy and not like, how fucked up is that, y'all? It's our body part. That one of the worst things you can call a person is a pussy. We use it to talk about people being not a man. You know, when a man's being emotional, or if he's scared or honest or vulnerable, he's called a pussy. They're weak. They're emotional. I don't know about you, but how many of y'all here have given birth? Is that body part weak and emotional? Yeah, she's emotional. Is emotional a bad thing? The emotion you felt when you saw your child for the first time, was that too much? The emotion that child's father felt was the same. But it's like, you know, oh, sweet, a dad feeling something, a man feeling something. He's so sensitive. A woman cries and she's hormonal, emotional, too sensitive. Lauren Puckett says, I physically just guarded it when you said that. Didn't notice. Yeah. Because I love Mama Gina's book, Pussy, a Reclamation. She chose the title on purpose, and I thought it was just to be triggering and reactive. You know, I rolled my eyes at it for a long time before I read it. And when I read it, I knew why she named it that. To take it back. That's why you see women in like this kind of work using the word pussy all the time. It's not to be reactive. It's not to be sensational, right? It's to take it back. It's to reclaim it, because it's been made into something disgusting and dirty and pornographic. And I don't know about you, but my vagina, my pussy, my yoni, whatever you want to call it, is not pornographic or dirty. And I think it's time we stop buying into that. You don't have to walk around and start saying the word pussy, you know? But you could start looking at her, acknowledging that she's there, You know, placing a hand over, like cupping a hand over your vulva in the morning and saying good morning, that will change your whole life. Just that one thing. If you do nothing different in your life except cup your vulva every morning and tell your woman parts good morning, your life will change. Because the womb is our seat of the sacred feminine. It's a portal to life. I mean, literally, it's a portal to the divine, to the sacred. And it will tell you everything you need to know. It will tell you when you are in danger. She will tell you when something's good for you, when something's bad for you. She will tell you if you don't know something, she will let you know it. She will speak to you. And this is the body part that we block out when we leave our bodies. Yes, we leave because of our hearts too. I think we exit through the heart, really. And so it's symptoms of heart stuff, right, when we leave our bodies. But for every client I've ever worked with, we go outside of ourselves because we're feeling things that hurt. But underneath it, we always arrive at a locked up womb. We leave the womb and we exit out through the heart. Let me catch up with the comments real quick. Michelle says, funny how men can be called a pussy or a dick. Yeah. Right? They can be called either. And dick isn't repulsive. It's rude, maybe. That's probably the worst thing. Someone would be like, well, that's rude. Because I don't even think anyone has ever had a problem with that. You know? Lacey says, we usher in life. We're the gateway between worlds. Exactly. And whether that life, that creation is physical life or not, whether it means a human child or a program or a piece of art or a story that you write, a journal entry that changes your whole fucking world, a meal that you create that your family gets to sit down and connect over. There's so many things we can create, and they're all powerful. And when we create from this space, it heals the world. We heal ourselves in the creation and in the birthing of it. And then that thing becomes a gift, even if that thing is just a realization about ourselves. Let me read Janice's comment. Janice says, I didn't have an orgasm until after my second child. See, we can create without pleasure, right? I was so excited that I wanted to feel that again. When I wanted it again the next night, my husband asked me what kind of bitch I was. He knew that was the worst thing he could say to me. This comes from someone who was fucking so many other women. I'm sorry for saying this. Don't be. I have not admitted this to women I have not met. I'm so grateful, Janice. I'm so grateful that you shared that you're here, that you exist, and that you're sharing this experience. Because I know everyone here can see some part of themselves in you. Elizabeth says, Janice, I am so sorry that you experienced that. That was wrong and unfair, and you did not deserve it. Exactly. This is a clear example of the way women's pleasure is shut down. We're taught that women's pleasure is only safe if it pleases a man. A woman can have the wildest orgasm if it's recorded and put up on like Pornhub. A woman can have no shame if she's doing it in front of a man. And I see so many women who do this work, who do womb healing work, but they sell it from a point of making the man happy. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I don't get it. It's just like the patriarchy. It's making women's pleasure about men. You don't need to learn how to be in your pleasure so that your man can enjoy you being in your pleasure. You need to learn how to be in your pleasure so that you can be in pleasure. Period. It's for you. And what happens to you when you're in your pleasure, that becomes the gift to your people. And yeah, that person may be your man. It may be the world. You light up when you're in your pleasure. You come alive. You become present. You become real. And we can't be in our pleasure if we don't feel safe. If we don't feel safe in our body, we can't feel good in our body. Michelle says that's terrible. He was your husband. Yes. Jamie says, I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad you shared that with us. Yes, Janice. I want you to feel like all these women holding you and like validating that that was not anything wrong that you did there. And I just want to pause here for a moment. And I invite all of you to just drop into your body. You can place a hand on your womb, on your low belly, or a hand cupping your vulva, and one hand on your heart. And just notice how you feel. The world will acknowledge our pleasure as safe and good and valuable and purposeful when we acknowledge that within ourselves. The world will release the shame around female bodies, female emotions, female pleasure, female power when we release it within ourselves. So I invite you to stay here with your eyes closed, just breathing and feeling all the places in you that are locked up, that have been shut down, numbed, escaped from, shamed, made wrong, punished for. The pieces in you that have been assaulted or abused or neglected or rejected or ripped into pieces. The pieces of you that have not been seen as valuable or worthwhile. All the ways you've questioned your contribution as a person, what value you have, what gifts you carry, your purpose, your enoughness, your safety of being who you are. Always, all of that was shut down or taken from you or made to be wrong. And so you rejected it, you abandoned it, you shamed it and made it not right. You made yourself wrong because the world told you you were. And you were so young, you didn't know better, so you believed it. And you've spent every moment since then continuing to abandon yourself, continuing to shift yourself into what the world told you you should be, trying to figure it out. And it's okay that you've been doing that. You have not been doing anything wrong. You have been surviving a toxic world. A world full of judgment and hate and misunderstanding, closed-mindedness, abusiveness of power. And it's been used against you to keep you small, to keep others big. And so when you decide to stop being small and start being big, the world will fight back like hell against it. Your inner conditioning will fight like hell against it. And it's okay. Because once your womb has been unlocked, anything you desire from the womb, nothing can stop it. Nothing can get in the way of it. It might take a while. It might take a lot of work, a lot of tears, a lot of frustration, a lot of screaming into pillows, a lot of losing people, a lot of sacrificing old ways, old habits, old comforts and safeties. But you will get there. You will get it. I see my mom worrying so much about my little sister. She's 18 and she has a boyfriend, and she's really trying so hard to control her decisions because she's scared. She's scared for her little girl. And it's making her feel raw and anxious and exposed and doubtful. It's hurting her. Her trying to control what happens to my little sister, what my little sister does, is causing my mom so much pain. And the people around her. It's triggering my own stuff. It's triggering me and my sisters. And it's hurting Maddie in ways. And she doesn't mean any of it. No one wants to harm their daughters, right? Or themselves. But it happens when we try to control. When we're scared, we try to control. And what's funny is, my sisters and I are talking. We're like, if a teenager wants to have sex, nothing is getting in the way of that. They will find a way. And I thought about all the ways when I was young, when I wanted something from my womb space, I got it. I found a way to make it happen. I mean, I would go out of my way to go to Lake Charles to spend 10 minutes with my boyfriend. Just see him, hug him, say hi, and go back to Jennings. I invite you to remember when your womb was a little less inhibited, a little more wild, a little more free. And she wasn't afraid to go after what she wanted because she desired it so strongly. What do you desire that strongly now? What makes your pelvic floor light up and come alive? What brings that gravity into the back body? What opens your heart into yourself instead of out and up away from you? What do you want truly? And how does it scare you? Invite the parts of you that are terrified of it to light up, to come forward. We are embracing them here. They are welcome here. We want to hear them. We want to see them. We want to support them. You may need to readjust and get comfortable again, Take care of yourself. You may start wanting to get distracted. You may want to, you may notice thoughts popping in. This is how the part of you that's afraid disconnects you from your womb, disconnects you from those scary desires, is by bringing you outside of yourself to your to-do list, to the thing that so-and-so said earlier, the thing you forgot to do, by getting uncomfortable, anxious, physically agitated. And it's okay. It's not about staying connected to the womb. It's about having access to her so that you can reconnect over and over again anytime you need. And so see if you can find that part inside of you that's scared. And you may not be able to see her or get close to her. You may feel a tightness in your chest or your throat. She may be out in front of you, like tugging on your heart, trying to pull you out of your body. Or maybe she's like darting in and out of places or shape shifting and she's slippery and hard to find. It's okay. I just want you to talk to her. Send a feeling to her. Say something to her. Let her know that she's not doing a bad thing. That, oh my God, you're so grateful. She's been keeping you safe. And she's so little. How smart of her to figure that out in the first place. To have found the escape route and maintained it. What a little genius she is. And how powerful she is. Oh my God, I'm in awe. Can you thank her for that? Can you see the value and the purpose of this hunt you've been on outside of yourself? This hunt she sent you on, this false scavenger hunt to the false thing, because she knows the true thing, the truth inside of you. She believes it's wrong. She believes it's scary. She believes it's dangerous. So she has kept you busy with relationship drama and money drama, parent drama, career drama, body stuff, trying so hard to fix the outside of your life. So that maybe the aching of being disconnected from the inside of your life can stop. Maybe you can stop the bleeding from the outside. Because the world has pointed you in those directions. It's told you, hey, I see you're in pain. I see you're not enough. I see what's wrong with you. Here's the thing to fix it. Come buy it. Come chase it. Come do it. So we're buying, chasing, doing all these things that are not the thing. And you may notice your womb is fucking angry about it, about all the ways she was let outside of herself, that she was made to believe that she was the problem, that she's wrong and not good enough. All the ways her anger has been judged and shamed, invalidated. This grief and this anger, it's so good. And this fear, it's all so good. If you can feel that, then you're inside yourself. You're you. And you're that much closer to feeling and having the things you've believed until now were outside of you. You have to sit in the shit before you can have the thing you desire, not because it's a test and not because you have to earn it, but because the thing you desire, the pleasure, is in sitting with yourself, your whole self. You'll see that grieving, really grieving, feels good. Raging feels good. Being afraid even feels good when you're doing it consciously, when you're aware and you're letting yourself be there. It's running from grief that hurts, running from fear that's scary, running from anger that feels complicated. But truly feeling your shit is amazing. It's where you see your tenderness, your heart opens, and love for yourself just pours out so effortlessly. You do not create self love by doing all these things on the outside. You don't have to create self love. Self love is not a thing you have to do to yourself because you're bad and you haven't been doing enough good things. Self love is something that happens when you witness your pain and fear and anger. Take some big, deep breaths. Feel your body remembering her safety, her natural goodness. Even when she's angry or scared or sad, when she's all these things she was taught she shouldn't be, she's remembering what's true. Because what she's been surrounded by is not the truth. What she's being sold is not the truth. She is the truth. She knows. She's remembering that she knows. And so, what does she remember that she knows? What does she know to be true about the world, about you, about your enoughness, your goodness, your fucking talent? And notice how your heart feels in her presence when she is in this powerful space. Is your heart still feeling scared? Or is she starting to remember that she's safe in her body? That she's got this big mama sitting beneath her, protecting her, guiding her, holding a safe space for the heart to be open, to be unprotected, because she's protected by this wisdom deep down. You don't protect your heart by putting up walls, you protect your heart by listening to your womb. When she tells you get out of this relationship, you get out of it. Even if it logically doesn't make sense. I was seeing this guy, and on paper, he was absolutely perfect for me. There was literally nothing that he was doing wrong. But my womb kept screaming, get out. Leave this. This is not for you. This is not good. Not necessarily that it was dangerous, but just you're dimming yourself here. You're being siphoned. Leave. And so I did. It took a long time for me to listen to her. And I'm so grateful that I did. You protect your heart by listening to your womb when she tells you what she does and doesn't want to eat, what she does and doesn't want to do. You unlock your throat and you find courage to be yourself when you listen to your womb and you let her hold you as you do the scary new things. And the final thing I'll speak to, the final gift of the womb, is her connection to God, to the universe, to spirit, to goddess, to the divine, to the sacred. And you bring your awareness to your womb space. A crown of light appears on your head. And I invite you to invite energy to uncoil itself from your pelvic floor, from the base of your womb, and let it unravel and travel up and touch your crown of light, activating it. And notice how that light starts to pour down into your body without you having to do a thing. Without having to give up your worthiness or your value. You don't have to bow down or fear it. And just noticing what this energy feels like. Is it warm and sweet? As it pours down into your whole body and drains down into your roots, down through your perineum, down through your legs and your roots out through your feet. It's like honey light. It's unconditional love. It's possibility. It's a hug. This is grace. And it requires nothing of you. It is your natural right. You are naturally deserving of it. God is at home in your body naturally. She belongs there. So I just invite your body to remember her sovereignty, her divinity, her sacredness. And again, you may notice part of yourself questioning, or you may notice your body just soaking it up. Just allow yourself to have whatever experience you're having. There is no need to force any of it. You are allowed to be exactly where you are, even if that is triggered, or bored, or confused, or overwhelmed, or contracting. Let yourself feel exactly how you feel. Let your experience be valid. Let your experience be okay. And if your experience is one of enoughness and sweetness and abundance and love, and you're not used to that, you may be trying to dim it or invalidate it. or make it something else, something smaller. Oh, someone next to me isn't feeling this. Maybe I should stop. No, you shouldn't. You should keep feeling it because it's yours. It's your experience and it's valid. Oh, someone next to me is feeling open and I'm feeling shut down. I should force myself open. No, you shouldn't. Let yourself be contracted. Let yourself be shut down because it's your experience and it's valuable. And there's wisdom in it. And you only get the wisdom of it by being in it. I invite you to just breathe here for a bit. Staying connected. Maybe letting out some cleansing breaths in through the nose and the sigh out through the mouth to just help that energy move. Inviting in your angels, your guides, the archangels, ascended masters. I feel Mary Magdalene is with us, as well as Mother Mary and Haniel, Archangel Haniel, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. Some of you may even feel the presence of Jesus with you, which is interesting because for so long that word for me has been so triggering. Not his teachings, not his energy, not his presence, but just calling Jesus in has felt like such a triggering thing because my conditioning around it was so damaging. But the conditioning we receive that he's used in wrong ways with, I guess is the word. What's true about him? What's true about that energy? For me, I feel it's pure love. And he knows that, like, what's being spread as his isn't his. That, like, people have forgotten the point. And if this triggers anyone, I'm sorry, that's not my intention. I just feel the need to speak to it because it's my truth. And it's an invitation into, like, what is your truth about it? You know, he didn't sit with Mary Magdalene the whore because he's such a good guy and she didn't deserve it, but he was a good guy and he was there anyways. I feel both of their presence here and they both know that that was not the thing, that it's not how it was. You're not unworthy of love, divine or otherwise. And the idea of being loved by someone who believes you're not worthy of it is damaging. It's okay to deconstruct God, to deconstruct religion, to deconstruct what you've been taught and discover its truth for yourself. I know for me personally, I've arrived in a deeper, more meaningful relationship with the things I once rejected. And I had to reject them and deconstruct them and find what was true. Because when humans try to teach these things, there's a lot that gets missed, a lot that gets misinterpreted, a lot that becomes black and white, and especially when it's used to control. The original point gets lost, the energy of it gets lost, the truth gets lost. And we're encouraged to follow all these outside rules, do all these outside things to become worthy of that love, of divine love, of grace. When the truth is that you are love, you are divine love, you are grace. And there is no returning to it or becoming worthy of it. You are it all the time. It is available to you all the time. Exactly as you are. And speaking that just now was uncomfortable as hell for me. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to stop so many times, and I kept being told, you need to say these things, not necessarily because anyone needs to hear them, but because it's my job as a human to source from within myself the truth and express it and be it, so that others feel that permission to do the same for themselves. So, what is your difficult truth that you don't want to express, that you don't want to be, that you're afraid people won't understand you for it? If you've always been very logical and you want to start doing creative stuff, you know, and you're afraid, like, what will people think of me? I've always been this and now I'm supposed to be that. And it may be so much bigger than that. It may be so much bigger than just wanting to be more creative. But even if it is, quote unquote, just wanting to be more creative, that can change your life. And it's not a small thing. So, what is your truth? Who are you? Who are you here to be? What are you here to do? What are your gifts and talents? And what are the ways that you're not living them because you're trying to be who you thought you were supposed to be? Or who you know you're not, but are still trying to be? Because you're afraid of what changing would do to your people. And that's why I ask you to source the truth to that question within yourself, within your womb. What does your womb have to say about it? Will you being more yourself hurt or damage the people that you love? Will it be a bad thing? Are you a bad thing? Is who you are damaging or dangerous to people? Is who you are really not good enough? Is your truth really unsafe? Is your body really unsafe? Are your emotions really wrong or too much or not enough? Are you wrong or too much or not enough? You don't even have to do anything. I can feel there's like this, so what do I do? And worried about like what action you have to take outside of yourself now. Like you have to walk out of here and make some radical transformation. And I invite you to consider that that's the old way, the way you knew before you stepped into this space of transformation tonight, a way where you had to do the thing to get the thing. We had to do a thing to be a thing, right? Where the outside action was what was important. You manipulating and controlling your world through action or words or decisions was the way you did things. And now you're being invited into something different, something new, where you do less, you say less, you decide less, and you just sit with what you know is true and allow the world to meet you there. A world where just feeling yourself is enough, where that is all you have to do. Because when you feel yourself and you are in touch with yourself and you are in tune with yourself, you will know what to do when it's time to do it. You will know what to say when it's time to say it, and you will know how to say it. You will stop deciding and thinking and planning and start knowing and being and inviting. Inviting life to meet you, inviting your people to see you, inviting your desires in. Life becomes an invitation, an opening, rather than a riddle to be solved or figured out or cracked. So we'll take a few more breaths here into that. And just noticing how your body feels. This was a lot of energy. And you may feel in total agreement with that. You may not. It's okay. You can trust what's happening under the surface. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it in your body? How is your body feeling? Reconnecting with your womb for a moment as you ask those questions. Asking those questions and touching your womb will be your guides for how to integrate this, how to continue this, how to be yourself, how to do life as you. What am I feeling? How do I feel? Where do I feel it in my body? What is my body experiencing? What is my experience? And remembering that your experience doesn't need to shift or change to match an expectation or what everyone else around you seems to be experiencing. And I invite you to slowly start making your way back. Wiggling your fingers and toes, rocking your head from side to side, taking a deep breath. And then gently opening your eyes with soft blinks. You know, I'm really present to a poem by Shel Silverstein, Blue. And it was, I don't know what exactly, but it's, you know, they were searching and searching for blue their whole life through and walked right past each other and like never knew. And they're both behind these gigantic masks, looking for someone who looks like them. And they pass each other and have no idea. And I shared a post on Instagram about my experience in high school, how I felt like this exposed nerve. I was terrified all the time because I felt like not enough. And I didn't feel the way everyone else around me supposedly felt. Everyone else around me was cool and fit in and were happy, and like they didn't have the same problems I did. Like everyone else, this was easy. I believed that because it's what it looked like on the outside. Um, and then I had so many people reach out to me through Messenger and to comment saying like that's how I felt too. Some of the people I went to high school with, and I would have never known that that's how they felt too. And so if you're looking for someone who looks like you, start being you and you'll start to find people who look like you. They'll find you, they'll see you and be like, oh, I can take my mask off with her. I can be myself with her. And what a gift. And people can't give you that if you can't give yourself that. And you can't do that for people if you can't do that with yourself. You know, I was talking to a friend, some friends were talking about this Facebook post about women wanting their men to be fully present, that's all they had to do to make their woman happy. And like, while that's true, that's absolutely what we want. We want presence, but we want it from ourselves. And we take their lack of presence personal. You know, they're not present with us because they don't care about us. But the truth is, they're not present with you because they can't be present with themselves because they're afraid. The same reason you're struggling to be present with yourself, because you're afraid. You're afraid that you're not enough. He's afraid that he's not enough. And so we become addicted to disconnecting from ourselves because we're afraid and we believe and we've been taught and conditioned that we're not enough. And not only are we not enough, we're bad. You know, your people have been taught the same things. And I'm not saying that that means you stay and allow yourself to be treated in any way less than good and less than what you desire. I'm not saying that. But there's an opening there for compassion, for allowance. And what that does is it opens up compassion for yourself, for the version of you that's struggling to do that for you. Because what I've come to see as true is that when I am able to be with myself fully, when I'm able to see myself and hear myself and listen to myself and value myself, that starts to be what is reflected to me on the outside. So I just invite you, I don't know, into yourself, into your truth, into whatever's real for you. I don't need your truth to look like mine, you know? It doesn't add or detract from my truth. Just like someone else's truth doesn't need to look like yours, it doesn't add or detract from your truth. When we all start cultivating the courage to show up in our diversity, diversity becomes the norm. A group of people feeling 7 different ways about the same thing they all just went through becomes the norm, versus 7 people thinking that they are one of 6 that feels differently. That, oh, these other 6 feel this way and I'm the only one feeling like this. Where when really, when we come together in sisterhood like this, in groups, and we're honest, we start to see, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the 1 in 7. We're all the 1 in 7. So good. And like my human brain could not have planned any of that, which is why I've stopped trying to plan with my human brain for stuff like this. Because it creates opening for possibility. If I had decided we were doing a certain thing tonight and it started to go off track, I would have panicked. It's the same thing when we make all these decisions in life and it goes off track by divine plan, we panic. But if we go into no plan with divine support, it's magic. We may panic all the way there at not having a plan, but grace shows up to support you, to hold you, to guide you. And so, yeah, as far as like where we go from here, I invite you to start talking to your womb. Start noticing how your body feels. Just start to become aware of your relationship with yourself. How does your body feel around some people versus around others? How does your body feel when you sit down to eat this thing versus when you sit down to eat the other one? How does your body feel when you make certain decisions, when you think about certain things? Just start to get curious. And if you want to continue this journey, if you know that you are a yes to this and you want support and you want to do it in a sisterhood with women, I invite you to join me for Embody. It can be a 1 month or a 3 month journey. The 1 month journey, level 1, is all about coming home, finding that sweetness and that safety in your body and just reconnecting, reestablishing communication, and getting into the pattern and habit of connecting versus disconnecting. Level 2 is an additional 2 months. It's where we take it into pleasure, unlocking the womb. There is a 28-day self-pleasure portion of that 7-week journey where you will be doing daily self-pleasure or 5 days a week for 28 days, and I promise it will change your life. So the investment for the full journey is $740, which I have a payment plan available if anybody desires that. And then the investment for level 1 is $111 for the month-long journey. And you don't have to commit to the whole journey right away. Everyone can start at level 1. The price doesn't change at all for level 2. It's whatever 740 minus 111 is. If you decide to continue into level 2, you do that after level 1. You don't have to say yes to it now. And level 1 on its own is so healing. It's the way I ran it last time around, and there's so much healing available. It's not a lesser journey. I'll just put it that way. So you can take that on its own as a standalone journey, or the whole thing, or you can do level 1 and then decide during the integration period around Christmas if you want to continue in to level 2. And what I love is that level 2 ends the day after Valentine's Day. February 15th is our closing ceremony, and so it feels really like fitting and beautiful that we finish on that day. And I'll post the link. I'll put it in the chat box right here real quick for anybody who wants to look up more information about that, because I don't really want to spend a ton of time talking about that because we are already almost at our 90 minutes. So there's the link to that if anybody wants that. And also, if you found this helpful, I would invite you and welcome and appreciate donations if you feel called to contribute in that way. By having people in my group classes and by having people contribute donations, if you feel called to it, it's what allows me to continue doing this work and holding these free events and doing the free teaching that I do almost every day. And I also encourage you, if you are someone who follows me on social media or enjoys my emails, I invite you to try out the energy healing portion, the active teaching, by jumping in with Embody with me, or Grace, my 6-month one-on-one support program. Because as those of you who were here tonight that may have only read things on Instagram and never experienced healing work with me have seen, it's quite different. It's one thing to show up and read with your mind about healing work. It's another thing entirely to experience it with your body. So yeah, I will post the link now if anyone feels called to make a donation for the time tonight. what you'll do, it's a PayPal me link. So what you'll do is you'll just copy paste the link, or I'll put it for $1. And then what you'll do is you'll just change that number, that one on the end, you'll just change it to whatever amount. So if it's like $2 or $5 or whatever, you'll just change that number. I think you can even change it once you go to the link. It'll give you the option to change the amount. I would be very grateful. And so much energy. I would love to hear from y'all. I would really love to hear from y'all. So if anybody wants to share or has something they want to say or be witnessed in, we have 5 minutes. So I think we have time to hear from a few of you. And so, yeah, you can raise your hand. There should be a raise hand feature, or you can type into the chat box if you don't want to, if you don't want to speak, you're more than welcome to type it. Let's see. And also, if you want to just go off into your own little world quietly, you're welcome to do that too. Sydney says, during the meditation, I totally zoned out, turned off my brain and came to at the end. Yes, I'm glad you shared that, because that happens. A lot of times the brain just has to get out of the way. And people will be like, oh my God, I fell asleep. I didn't get any of it. No, you got it. Your brain made sure that your mind stepped out of the way and that your system received the download. But Sydney says, yes, my body feels like it got a lot. Beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, I'll be posting the replay. So if you're curious about what you got, you can always come back. And the replay of this will be valuable to return to occasionally, just to remember and reactivate, and because we will disconnect, right? We're not going to stay in this cozy connected space constantly. That's what makes coming home so good, is that we leave for a while. It's not important that you stay connected. You don't have to how do I stay connected, right? What's important is that you know the path home, that you know how to get home when home is what you're needing. And so, yeah, I had planned on showing y'all the card reading, but I think it just came through in what was channeled. That whole thing was a whole channeled something. So yeah, if anyone else wants to share, I would be happy to hear from y'all. What's funny was, the thing about my mom that I shared, one of the things I was feeling so triggered around it, because she doesn't want us having our little sister spend the night at one of my other sister's house, because we're taking her out to eat for her 18th birthday. And I was feeling all kinds of shame and pissiness and hurt feelings and anger about it. And finally I boiled it down to, I was like, it's just the lack of trust in our innate goodness, our natural goodness, that really hurts and pisses me off. And I sat with it, because that hit a chord. I was like, this is true. And I realized, how am I not trusting that myself? Do I trust in my own goodness, my own enoughness? Because I've really been struggling with pulling back and not doing, and just receiving and being, and trusting that by being myself, it's enough, which is radical and terrifying. I have $11 in my bank account, and I'm being told to not do shit about it. And it's oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. There's stuff in my relationships that I'm I feel like I should be doing things, and I'm being told to lean back and wait and just be uncomfortable. And it's excruciating. And I can see when I go into this state of panic and start trying to control and plan and organize, I'm not trusting in my own goodness. I'm not trusting who I am, because I'm trying to control and make sure that I'm safe, because I don't believe that who I am is good enough or safe enough. So yeah, I am walking this path with you. I am not here pretending to have everything figured out and I'm going to teach you the way, but I can share from where I've been, and that's what I'm here to do. And I offer that because I think that some of you may find yourself in that story, find some version of yourself in those words. And I know I had planned on doing one-on-one support, but it doesn't feel needed, and it doesn't, we are out of time. But for those of you who do sign up for Embody, there is group support there. Those of you who do level 2, that comes with 2 sessions with me, a 75-minute one-on-one intensive where we do this together one-on-one, and you're very involved in the process, and we're walking through it together. And then also a 30-minute support call where we talk for 30 minutes about, what you're experiencing, what you're struggling with. Sydney says, could you possibly touch on the cards you pulled for me earlier? Yeah, so let's see. I'm being told no. It feels like, so I had pulled cards for Sydney earlier, and what had come forward was about being in yourself and trusting the magnetism of your ability to receive, right? I think I might be rephrasing some of it, but yeah, this is part of the thing, so I will speak to this. We don't trust our ability to receive. And that's what, so like, I didn't trust my ability to like, oh my God, how am I going to receive the money I need? And actually what ended up happening after hours of me just being with my excruciating discomfort, my ex-husband came to pick our little boy up and he gave me $100 for no reason. It happens, we can't understand with our human mind how the things we want are going to come to us. And that is us not trusting the magnetism of our womb, the magnetism of being present in our bodies. Because when we are present in our bodies and when we are connected to the womb, we become a magnet for the things we want. And we have to be willing to receive. And so by being willing to receive our discomfort, it creates opening for us to receive our pleasure, to receive our desires. And so when you find yourself in that space, because you will, when you find yourself feeling panicked or anxious or triggered or hurt or lost in drama or like mentally anxious and figuring things out, I invite you to literally slow down, stop the things. You don't have to go hop in the bathtub or do a whole thing. I know like we have lives in school and kids, but pause, literally stop what's going on and breathe. Hands on your low belly, hands on your womb, and talk to her. Tell her, help me. I'm confused. What am I feeling? Where do I feel it in my body? How do I feel right now? What's going on? Help me. And you will hear her. She will talk to you. And that's the kind of stuff we do in Embody, is learn how to do that. And yeah, this new way is hard at first. It's going to be so hard at first. I was talking with my teacher about that. I was like, I forgot how hard. When I first started doing this work, it was about opening my heart and finding forgiveness and compassion and allowance and understanding. And it was so hard and so uncomfortable. It was like learning a new sport or learning a new instrument. It required so much of me. It demanded so much of my attention, so much of my energy, so much of my presence and my patience. And I had to keep doing the same things over and over, keep being told the same things over and over and over. I mean, I used to have days where I'm like, oh my God, I'm paying her to keep telling me to come back to my heart, like, and now I'm in the same place. It's so hard. It's so uncomfortable. And it is requiring literally every single piece of me to be able to just navigate this new way that my system wants to operate. And so the support of my healer has been so valuable. She is holding space for me because I've taken all my protections down. I've burned down all my old structures, like literally in my system, my whole old system, the old structure within me of how I used to do things. Like, a piece of me raged and knocked that bitch to the ground. It's gone. And so I'm vulnerable and it's fucking scary and I feel raw and exposed and open and scared. Can't tell you how many times I've messaged my teacher and I'm just like, I'm just scared. And she's holding space for me. She has become my safety. I'm letting go of my safety nets, and she's holding me while I do it as I develop my own safety inside of me, a new way of being, a new sense of safety. And so I invite you to consider the value of that, of having someone to hold space for you and to be a stand for you when you feel like caving, who's going to stand for you and do uncomfortable things or say uncomfortable things or hold space for you to be uncomfortable, for you to be vulnerable, for you to be scared as you learn this new way. And it won't always be this hard. It will not stay this hard. You know, you eventually find your footing in the new sport, or you find your fingers in the new instrument, and you find a flow and a rhythm. And you start to create your own rhythm, your own way of being. And so if where you're at right now feels really hard and it feels like you've started the work and it's just so much work and it's so scary and you're just tired, I invite you to stay with it because it will get easier. You are new at this. This is new. I mean, for the past 3 years, I've done intense healing. I've been working with my healer on and off with her or another healer. I've had some form of support on and off for 3 years now, 3.5 years now. And I've gone through phases of entering new phases of life. And each one is so hard at the beginning. So fucking hard. And then it gets easier. You step into it and you find your wholeness. So I just feel the need to speak to that because I know some of you have been doing this work and I can feel that, oh, when do I stop feeling like a exposed nerve? The answer, hopefully soon, eventually. So yeah, if anyone else wants to share or be seen or witnessed, we are past our time, but oh well. You're welcome to hop off if you need. Michelle says, thank you. You're so welcome. So much love to each one of you. I'm so grateful. So, so grateful for everyone who is here live with me, everyone who's watching the replay. Really, this was a beautiful night, and I'm just honored to have been the space holder for it. It grows me up every time. It brings me face to face with my own enoughness and face to face with my gifts and my truth. And it's so good. Danielle says, thank you. This was incredible. I'm so glad I chose to be here tonight when I almost did. Time for bed now. Yes, I'm so grateful you were here too. Beautiful. Good night. Good night, Danny. I know you probably will be up soon with a baby. Fingers crossed, though, that knock on wood that those boys sleep for you. Yeah. Sending you all so, so, so much love. Bye, y'all.